This is Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Today we are talking about this week's action coming up at the weekend in World Rallycross and European Rallycross as well. And here to talk about it with us, it is our resident World and Euro RX expert. It's Phil Kinch. Hi, Phil.
Hello, sir. How are we doing?
Fantastic, yes. So, talking about the World Rallycross and European Rallycross, we'll get on to later on. This weekend, it is the second round of the championship, and looking back at Spain briefly, they were on the Grand Prix circuits, weren't they?
That's right. So for the past couple of seasons, World RX has been racing on the, I think he called it the second half of the Spanish circuit, the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. They generally have used, World Rallycross has generally used the circuit from around about turn 10 onwards. The last couple of years, the start line has been just before the final corner, if you're going in reverse, so in between the final chicane and the final corner. This year they've changed it though. The start line was moved to further around the circuit. If you can imagine the back straight of the circuit where you've then got the left-hand hairpin, and the start line at least for each of the races was put there. So you've got a left-hand hairpin to negotiate and offer some more overtaking, which seemed to be a very interesting move. And controversial, which I can come to later. Yes. But it definitely offered some excitement, more excitement than you would normally have as well, for all of the races taking part over the weekend.
And for people who are not just listening to this special report, also maybe perhaps watching it on motorsport.radio or on some of our social media channels, they will be able to see as well some of the track conditions on this Saturday. They were particularly challenging.
Oh yes, definitely. I can happily say, having watched practice online on the FIA World Rallycross Championship Facebook page Saturday morning, and the World's Rallycross commentator Andrew Coley was doing his usual thing, watching warm up and practice as the cars were going out and doing some exploratory laps, and it was getting wetter by the second. And like you say, some of the images you'll see as we're scrolling through, some very wet conditions on Saturday, very difficult driving conditions. And obviously, whilst it was wet on the tarmac, wet on the asphalt, you can imagine the off-road sections were getting incredibly muddy as well. So Saturday was almost a survivor of the fittest side of things as far as qualifying was concerned. It was literally a case of making sure you kept control of your car and went as fast as you could in very difficult and very slippery conditions. Quite a few forms of contact, as there normally is in Rallycross, but quite a few cars definitely leaving Saturday after qualifying had finished as very bent and in need of repair. So Saturday very wet, very difficult. Sunday, complete contrast. The track was dry. It dried out overnight and had some blazing sunshine, which we're all accustomed to Spain with normally, and they had a lot, I'd say an easier time of the track conditions, and obviously lap times fell as the cars were going a lot quicker than they were on Saturday.
Absolutely, yes. And there was a lot of, as you alluded to there was a lot of discussion after and during the event regarding a little problem perhaps between Ekstrom and Solberg.
Yes, so
disagreement, an argument, debate.
Yes, and it involved a tyre barrier of all things as well. In the supercar final, the top six fastest drivers, you had Johan Kristoffersson, Petter Solberg, both at PSRX Volkswagen Sweden. You had the two EKS Audi Sport drivers of Matthias Ekstrom and Andreas Backerud. And then you had to throw in the mix, you had Niklas Gronholm driving for his father, Marcus Gronholm's team, WRX Tannico, and you had a certain 9-time World Rally champion, Sebastian Loeb, who had a very difficult weekend and scraped him by the skin of his teeth. However, the important detail to consider as far as Rallycross fans are concerned, and they should all know if they've managed to find the supercar final online, you had Solberg and Ekstrom on the front row of a supercar final. Fireworks are guaranteed. These guys go at it from the word go. There is no quarter given nor asked between these two, and it was exactly the same when it came to the supercar final. Solberg was on the inside line from pole position. Ekstrom was on the outside of the front row, and basically it almost looks as though Ekstrom just drove him into the tyre barriers, and Solberg was out of the race before they got into the first corner. It was straight away you could see there was something definitely wrong as far as driving standards. So there was obviously between Andrew Coley and Andrew Jordan, who were working on commentary duties, there was definitely some question about what was going to happen with the stewards. As it was, Ekstrom won the race on the road itself. He beat Christopherson and Loeb. However, the stewards decided afterwards to disqualify Ekstrom from his race win, so he dropped down to 6th place, and Christopherson took the race win with Sebastian Loeb in 2nd place. Very impressive feat, considering that Loeb finished 13th in qualifying, so he was outside of the vital top 12 places for the semi-finals. Kevin Hansen, his teammate, basically decided to step aside to allow Loeb into the semi-finals, and Loeb took every opportunity possible. To give you an idea, Sebastian Loeb and Kevin's brother Timmy Hansen are both the WRX Peugeot Sport drivers, so they're both eligible for manufacturer points. So this is more a tactics game, a team game, as far as things are concerned. So Loeb took full opportunity, finished in 2nd place, and Bakker had finished in 3rd place, which is not bad considering it's his first outing for the EKS Audi Sport team. He's normally been driving Fords during the World Rallycross Championship since he's been taking part from the beginning. This year he's in the EKS Audi Sport team with his friend Ekstrom, and did very well to finish 3rd. Nicholas Gronholm came home in 4th in the supercar final, and again an impressive feat for him and his dad's team with the new Hyundais. And then Petter was classified 5th, although he didn't very much make it past the first corner, unfortunately, due to some contact which led to Ekstrom's disqualification.
And this weekend, then, in the 2nd round of the World Rallycross Championship, I understand there are some new and even returning teams.
There are. So we've got a couple of teams that have returned to World WRX this year. Olsberg's MSC, a perfect example. They're Robin Larson's very colourful Ford Fiesta in pre and post jump. So they've come back with Robin Larson and also Kevin Eriksson. Rallycross fans all know him as Mr. Round the Outside from his epic winning move at the 2016 World WRX of Germany. So we've got some drivers returning to World WRX and joining us in Portugal. If the truth be believed on this, we've got former Formula One World Touring Car and Formula E driver Marcin Carr turning up for teams starred in a 2nd Ford Fiesta. Now, he should be joining Yanis Balmanis at team starred. Yanis is driving the team's full season 1 car entry, and Mark Winghart is driving the 2nd car in varied appearances as he takes on the challenge of Rallycross.
Genuinely never even thought, I mean, yes, he has turned up, he's popped up in pretty much everything over the past few years, but this, I wouldn't have had him down for.
Okay, so if I also point out the fact that former Formula One Russian star Vitaly Petrov's also had a go at Rallycross. Yes. They're out there having a go. It's got people's interest. Drivers who normally do single seaters are having a go and thinking this is quite interesting. So there's the control aspect. The cars have got such power. They're 600 brake horsepower from a 2-litre turbo engine. They spit flames out the side. They're absolute monsters to watch, and it's brilliant stuff. So they definitely getting the attention now. We've got a World Championship happily up and running from other drivers. We've also got 2 local drivers taking part this weekend. We've got Joachim Santos, who normally takes part in Portugal, and he's going to be in a Ford Focus supercar. And we also have Mario Barbosa. Now, Barbosa's normally been a Super 1600 entrant, and he had a go last year at both his home event and the one at Linden Hill, the European event for Super 1600. This year he's driving an ex-Duran Motorsport or LDM Motorsport Citroen DS3. So all being well, he's going to be quite a handful to take part. We're also going to see British driver Ollie Bennett back in action. Ollie's doing a parts season this year. I believe he's up to doing 9 rounds. However, it's not too bad. It's a 12-round championship. It's not too bad. He's doing a 9-round championship so far in the LD Motorsports and Simpson Motorsport developed BMW Mini Cooper. An example here she is. She absolutely is wonderful. As far as I'm concerned, a lovely looking Mini. And it's great to have Mini in Rallycross. There is such an iconic history with the Mini in Rallycross as it is.
Is Oliver also going to be dovetailing the world with the British?
He is
as well.
indeed, yes. So Ollie's been taking part in the British Rallycross Championship with his Ford Fiesta that he made his debut in last year with the Excite team. So he's racing the Ford Fiesta in the British Championship where he can, and the BMW Mini will be in World Rallycross for the 9 events that he's at. And having spoken to Ollie earlier in the year at Autosport International, I know they're looking to try and do as many events as possible. So British interest in World Rallycross, definitely with Oliver Bennett confirmed for 9 rounds this year. And like I say, those 4 drivers are joining the 15 permanent entries that are taking part at every round this season.
And also looking back to Spain and heartbreak for Timmy Hansen.
Indeed, yes.
Tell us more.
So basically, the Peugeots last year were a little bit behind the Volkswagens and Audis. At the first weekend in Spain this year, they were definitely on the pace. And to be honest, Timmy went fastest in qualifying for the very last round of qualifying before the semi-finals. And he was absolutely running away with the lead in the second semi-final that he was running. To quote Andrew Coley, and as a lot of Rallycross fans know, I absolutely love my Coleyisms. Andrew was completely on form on Sunday when it all took place. To quote him, I think it was something on the lines of Timmy Hansen's checked out, he's in another postcode. It was absolutely true. He was flying, he was gone. He had a lovely lead to him. Unfortunately, the car broke down on the very last lap. I think he was about halfway around the lap of the semi-final, and he didn't make it through, but I was counting him as a potential winner of the event until that happened. So yeah, Timmy's looking definitely more positively at Portugal this weekend. Always goes well there, and it's going to be one to watch for trying to make up for his Spanish woes.
Indeed, yes. And I'm hearing as well regarding maybe not this upcoming weekend, but or maybe even it does include this weekend, but maybe for some time in the future this year, Phil. I'm hearing a rumour on the social medias, who are never wrong, about a former World Rallycross driver or drivers who might be coming back for at least 3 particular rounds. Do you know anything about that?
There's been some interesting rumours today. I'll be honest, we're waiting for official confirmation, but if it is very true, then the rumours say that we could see Topi Heikkinen back in World RX action. Heikkinen's been an EKS Audi driver for the past couple of seasons. He's not managed to maintain his ride this year. He announced over the winter period he was leaving the team. It's quite possible we could see him back for several events during the year with another returning team. I understand it's an Austrian Rallycross team that he could be driving for, and he could be one of 3 drivers that have been named. Again, we await official confirmation.
Could we perhaps see an Austrian driver doing an Austrian round?
I don't know about an Austrian round. We haven't got one in Wild RX, unfortunately, but it's quite possible we could see a former Austrian Formula 1 driver who's very tall, to give you a few clues. It's possible we could see him in the car. It's also possible we could see a former British touring car champion who's very, very popular in World RX circles. It's possible we could see him in the car as well. So again, awaiting official confirmation, but rumours on social media and reports that we've seen have put this out there. So as soon as we've got it confirmed, it'll be great to sit there and see more drivers having a go at World RX. The general sort of consensus at the moment is it's World RX is manufacturer dominated, but the privateers have a go. They put their budgets together and they basically do the best they can, and often they spring quite a few surprises. So to give you an idea, this year you've got the 3 big manufacturer teams of PSRX Volkswagen Sweden, you've got EKS Audi Sport, and you've got Peugeot Sport taking part. You've also got 3 slightly smaller teams as well: Marcus Gronholm's GRX Tanaco, you have the GC competition team, Guerlain Shishirit's team, along with Jerome Grosset-Janin, with their Renault Megane cars built by ProDrive. So it's interesting to see how they go, knowing the off-road history that ProDrive have. And also we've got the returning Olsberg's MSE team, like I said, with Robin Larson and Kevin Eriksson. Big rallycross background with Olsberg's MSE, so they know a lot about their cars. It's good to see the privateers having a go, doing what they can against the manufacturers and springing surprises when they can.
It certainly is, and it would certainly be good too. I'm guessing One of the drivers who you referenced earlier, but I'm going to have a guess and say maybe Alex Wirtz. You don't have to say anything if it's right or wrong, but...
Well, he's tall,
he
and
is.
he's Austrian.
He definitely is, and I don't know any other Austrian tall drivers.
And I'm sure he's definitely driven in Formula One, so it's quite possible he could be one of them. But, again, we wait to see. Like I say, there's a lot of drivers interested in Rallycross, a lot of drivers interested in World Rallycross, European Rallycross. It's an upcoming sport. It's really popular as far as I'm concerned.
It's not even upcoming. It's here.
It's here. It's been here for 5 years, as far as World Rallycross is concerned. And yeah, Rallycross itself has been here for decades. Everyone enjoys it. If you're not finding much fun enjoying single-seaters trawling around line astern in circuits that are not very worth, I don't know, not overtakeable on, we'll call it. Then if you love your sideways action, cars racing on and off dirt and asphalt, Rallycross is the thing to watch. So should you find a certain race this weekend in a certain foreign city that has Formula One cars involved not interesting, you can find World Rallycross online, and I definitely recommend, as it's Portugal, it's one to tune in and watch. It's always good racing at Portugal.
So for those who have skipped a couple of World WRX rounds, how can people actually tune in? Do you need a Sky subscription? How much does it cost? Tell us. No,
you don't at all. So it's changed this year. This year, World Rallycross is broadcast live on Free Sport. So they are on almost every TV provider, apart from Virgin Media, of which Phil is unfortunately a customer. However, if you download TV Player, then which you can find online, if you download that, you can find Free Sport channel on there, free of charge. And as I did last time out in Spain, happily sit and watch it on your portable device, your tablet, your laptop, etc. And you can watch it online, or you can watch Free Sport on your telly if you are a free TV subscriber or TV subscriber of anyone apart from Virgin Media. It's on live. It's a 2-hour show. They catch you up through qualifying. They do driver interviews and everything, have a chat with all the teams and see how things are progressing. And as well as that, they also look at the European Rallycross side of things if the various classes are in action over the weekend as well. Well worth it. If you want to watch some exciting motorsport, I recommend tuning in.
Exactly, yes, because that is always a fun thing to do. Tune in and catch up on some amazing action as well. Lots of drama with some famous faces and big names. Do we dare mention Red Bull Global Rally? Do we? Is that just an off-topic thing?
That's something that's happened recently, yes. Unfortunately, the series
it is news, isn't it?
It is news, yes. So Red Bull Global Rallycross is no more. It will not be competing for the 2018 season. I will take the chance to plug a different American Rallycross series that is run by the promoters and organisers of World WRX. That's the America's Rallycross Championship. Ironically, it's starting off at Silverstone on the same weekend as World WRX, so you can expect to see names such as Andretti Autosport, Subaru, they're going to be there. So the Andretti Autosport in GRC recently has been Scott Speed, 3-time champion, and Tanner Faust, who's very well known to off-road and all car fans. The Subaru of America team, so they've had the talents of, I'm trying to remember names. They've had the talents of Patrick Sandell, who's done Rallycross for quite some years, and also Chris Atkinson, who a lot of people will know from his WRC days as well. And more recently, Ken Block and Steve Arpin announced a tie-up. Ken Block has done World WRX rallying. I think anything that goes sideways, Ken's done it. And Steve Arpin is a big American Rallycross competitor. They will be racing the iconic Ford Focus RXs that were in World WRX last year. So again, there's at least 6 entries announced. We're expecting a lot more to take place. It's a 4-round series we're expecting at the moment because it's going to be its first year. So the first round will be at Silverstone, same weekend as World WRX. We're expecting 2 events to take place at the Circuit of the Americas. Again, one alongside the World WRX event later in the year and one before. And they're also due to compete at the Troy Riviere circuit in Canada, again alongside the World WRX series. So it's getting the interest out there. It's a brand new series. And again, like I say, a lot of the American competitors are looking to move across and have a go. So yes, whilst one American Rallycross series seems to bite the dust, another one is happily rising, ready to take on and see what we can do and how much fun they can have.
I trust you, Phil. You will keep an eye on developments, and I think it is a shame that the Red Bull Global Rallycross has come to an unfortunate premature end. Not for the least of which also because it's not going to Leaden Hill anymore. So
no. So there, like I say, there are plans afoot, and there are to have, like I say, international rallycross taking place at Leaden Hill, and obviously we await any plans to be fully confirmed, official confirmation. But in the meantime, like I say, America's Rallycross is going to be the big thing that takes over from what was Red Bull GRC. And in the meantime, fans have still got World RX, Euro RX, RX2. There's lots of rallycross interest out there, as well as national rallycross series all across the world.
Yes, you're not short of any action as well, because also happening as well very soon is the FIA European Rallycross Championship back in action this weekend. And has there been what's the latest news? Is there any big things to come out of Euro RX?
Yeah, there is. So as far as the FIA European Rallycross Championship for supercars is concerned, the big class, it's a very heavily subscribed entry this year, and there are several drivers who've managed to get deals in place. After the first round took place in Spain, they're going to be taking part from the second round at Mete in Belgium, which is due to take place, I believe it's a week to 2 weeks after Portugal this weekend. So the first big name is Cyril Raymond. He was last year's RX2 champion. As far as the RX2 International Series is concerned, it's one of the feeder series for World RX. He is going to be driving a Peugeot 208 WRX supercar sponsored by Red Bull, and he's going to be taking part in the last 4 rounds of the European Rallycross Championship for supercars. And there's also another very popular signing as well, which is Magda Andersson, a very, very talented young lady from Sweden who absolutely loves her rallycross. She was originally taking part in the touring car championship for a couple of years, and then has moved up to supercar last year with Markland Motorsport. She was a teammate to Anton Markland, who was last year's European Rallycross supercar champion. This year she is taking part at Mete, joining, same as Cyril Raymond, but she's joining the DA Racing team. So this is the team that ran Jean-Baptiste Dubourg last year, and also Grégoire de Moustier. This year they're running Jean-Baptiste's younger brother, Andrea de Bourg, and Magda will be joining him in a 4-round effort from Mete. So for a series, considering they had 28 supercars taking part in Spain, at least up to 30, and probably more to be expected, a very heavily subscribed class of European Rallycross, and one that's really exciting to watch as well.
So it is, I would say, well, maybe you could answer this, Phil, because a lot of people, perhaps given the emergence of the World Rallycross, understandably so, a lot of people seem to have put the European thing out of their minds for a little bit, and maybe this series or championship did kind of take a bit of a backseat with... do you know what I'm trying to say? It wasn't as high profile.
I do, and I'll be honest, I'm one of the strong proponents. I feel that the European Rallycross should get as much coverage, if not more, as far as World Rallycross is concerned. Let's be honest, Rallycross started, back in the late 1950s, I believe, and has been growing ever since. It's a very popular sport, and European Rallycross, the European Rallycross Championship, has been going for decades itself. World Rallycross kicked off 5 years ago, after the success of IMG taking over European Rallycross and running it for several years, reinventing it and getting it out there to the fans. So you now have your World Rallycross Championship. In the meantime, European Rallycross can be just as much fun to watch. You've got the supercar class, like I was saying, they're going to have potentially up to 30 cars taking place at Mete in Belgium in a few weeks' time. Super 1600s, so you have your 1.6 litre naturally aspirated rallycross cars, where again, an oversubscribed category. There's so many people from around Europe and around the world that want to take their 1.6 litre cars racing, to try and win the Super 1600 Championship. It's amazing. The one series that is closing down, it's actually in its final year of competition, is the Touring Car Championship, which is 2 litre normally aspirated rear-wheel drive rallycross cars. They're only going to have 3 rounds this year because it's not been a popular one. But again, European Rallycross is the way to go. It's seen as a recognised stepping stone from a domestic series into European, and then to move up to World Rallycross. If you're able to, if you've got the talent, if you've got the budget, if you have the chance, it's something that a lot of people aspire to. I can actually say as well, it's something that when I spoke to one of our British Rallycross team bosses back at the Motorsport International in January, he's a strong proponent for being able to have domestic national talent making their way through the ranks into Europe and then into World, so they can sit there and showcase their talents against the best in the world. So it is definitely something. European Rallycross is one to watch. It is, the classes have as much excitement as World. A lot more drivers, a lot of drivers with a lot of experience and upcoming drivers. It's definitely something to give a go.
And tell us as well about the European Rallycross for supercars and 1600s.
Indeed. So we've got a few big names taking part in European Rallycross for supercars this year. The winner from Spain was a certain Rainish Nitish, a Latvian driver who's been in World Rallycross for the past 5 years. Before then, he was the reigning Super 1600 champion from 2013. So Rainish has gone back to European Rallycross this year, and he's running with the set promotion team, and absolutely dominated qualifying and the final in the end in Spain. He's going to be a big challenge for last year's champion, who's returning again, Anton Markland, who won the Drivers' Championship last year in his team run VW Polo. There's, again, like I say, Cyril Raymond, Magda Anderson, the G4's team, Jean-Baptiste Dubourg and Jer Kaliakowski. You've got a lot of big names in European Rallycross for supercars that could all potentially challenge. Derek Tohill, as far as local talent for us bits is concerned, Derek made it into the semi-final in Spain and did really well to get into the top 12, so he's looking for better. Rene Munich loves his rallycross. His cars, his allincall.com cars are all around the world in racing series. So yeah, it's definitely something to watch. Excuse me. And as far as the Super 1600s were concerned, Yanis Belmanis, who's been taking part for quite some time, took his first win of the season and thoroughly dominated in the Skoda, and it's looking as though he's a definite title threat for the year.
Certainly, yes. One to keep an eye out for the 1600s there. Phil, how can people keep in touch with your journalism stuff that you'll be writing about, not only World Rallycross and Euro RX as well, but also you're involved in TCR UK, TCR World TCR, and you do so much. How can people...
Yeah, exactly.
How can people stalk you?
That's it. They can stalk me. So you can find me at thecheckeredflag.co.uk, where you can see all my race reports on World and European Rallycross. Excuse me, the throat's going slightly. You can also find all my TCR work there as well, along with the TCRguru.com blog, the TCR Guru blog itself. If you're on Facebook, then you can also find I'm one of the admins at, let's count all these. You've got the TCR, the official TCR Talk Facebook group. You've got the TCR UK fans group. I'm having to think here. You've also have the Rallycross Talk group, which is the Spotters Tower, where we talk all things Rallycross. Oh, yeah. You also have Touring Car Chat, which I'm also running as well. I'm quite busy, as you can tell. And you can also find me on Twitter at Phil_Kinch, and also at TCR Guru, where I share all of the Rallycross news I come across, and also the TCR news as well.
And also as well on things like Motorsport Radio as well.
Yes. Funnily enough, I come here now and then as well for some strange reason. They like having me here.
Yeah, we drag Phil on now and again to give us the updates as to what the latest news is and stuff in things that perhaps you don't know about. So there you go. But for those who do, thank you very much for tuning in and listening or /watching our special presentation today, talking about what's going to be happening and what will be happening in the near future in everything Rallycross. Phil Kinch, thank you very much for coming on Motorsport Radio.
No problem.